Nah, hello. Oh, Matt. All right. Man, this is my first time. I'm sort of a little shy, like not shy, but I'm Alfredo. I'm an addict. All right, let me see how to start this out. Many of you guys know me. I was born in Torrance, and pretty much Pedro. I grew up in Pedro. This is my neighborhood. I was born of there were six of us. I had three brothers and two sisters, and we pretty much came from a good family. I grew up. My mom was an addict. My dad was an addict. My uncles, they were all dolphins, and but I didn't grow up around that. I grew up with my grandma and grandpa. My three oldest, my two brothers and my sister, they grew up in the projects. They lived in the projects. They used to watch my mom and them get high, look under the door, like and yeah, they're trying to hide from the kids. And but I came from a good family. I was in sports. I wanted to be an architect, a chef or a ball player. But that life never came for me because at the age of 12, my grandma got sick, and my big brother pretty much went to jail. He got a 15-year term. So my sister was already on her own. She went and moved out. My second oldest brother, he was pretty much in Long Beach getting high, doing his thing, And I didn't have nobody around. My grandpa had to take care of my grandma, and I had to be the dominant one for me and my little brother and my little sister. So, I was rebellious. I got rebellious about it, and because I fit it in, I fit it in that's pretty much where my addiction started, was with a hit of joint, on vacation with my cousin and my brothers. Yeah, I pretty much got from the hood. I was again, my whole teen years, I didn't have my brothers, so I didn't know how to survive, but just by the homies. My grandma and them couldn't take care of us. My grandpa had to take care of her. So no one was there to look out. So I went to the hood and, I learned how to make money. I learned how to make big money. I know how to lose $2,000 in 5 minutes and regain it back up in 10 seconds. But that's I don't want to glorify that because I have a long story. But I started out with drinking. Pretty much I was an alcoholic too at one point. I smoked crack and weed. I traded that at the age of 18 for a line of some meth. I was coming from a party and drunk and faded. Like I remember I get drunk and get fucked up, but it was one of those days where I didn't have a ride, the homie left, and we were strapped and fuck, I had to walk and I was bumping in the walls. So I didn't have no crack to puff my way out, puffing back to normal. But the homie gave me that first line, and that's where it all kicked off with meth. I love that shit like no other, but that's the insanity part of it though. Like, let me see okay. From there, I used meth just to survive too, like to get high on a normal basis. I couldn't function without it. I used to use it on the daily for work, through school. As a matter of fact, through school was my, adult school. Adult school where I thought I was, pretty much it led me nowhere, man. I didn't graduate, didn't do none of that. It led me to jail, It led me to jail, and that's the only place where I got sober was jail. Did a 16-month term. The first time I got out and was out for 2 months. Was right back in. I started slamming with my lady, my ex, and females are my downfall. They're my kryptonite when it comes to pussy. Excuse my language. They're my kryptonite. Like I'm very weak when it comes to that. Like I'll do anything. And I started slamming. So I caught another term 2 months later, and I did another 16 with half a term. And I got out. My girl left me. She sent me a Dear John letter. Never had that shit. That shit hurt me bad. Like fuck. Homies were laughing and shit, but it's cool. I worked it out. Did the most. And I got out. I met my first baby mama. Who gave me 3 beautiful kids. When my son came, I stopped getting high. I stopped for about 2 years. About the first 2 years he was born. He was my pride and joy. Like I grew a bond with him, like no other is my right hand man. But I started getting high after he was two. Got into some shit with baby mama and my daughters, my two oldest daughters. I was getting high during the birth and everything. Like they didn't have. I had no fun with them. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have fun with the daddy because I was getting high. But I hope they forgive me. I know they do because they love me to death. But years ago, and I had, I was hurt inside. Like their grandma passed away. Their grandma threw herself off the cliff right here at the coast, and they blamed me for it. So I was hurt inside, and I couldn't see my kids. They kept me away from my kids for so long. So I went back to the streets, started slamming, started doing the most, drinking it, started drinking meth, started doing the most, didn't give a fuck. That's when my life became unmanageable. Like I noticed my life became unmanageable when I couldn't take care of myself. I was not taking a bath for about a week and burning a lot of bridges. I was doing the most. I lost everything. Like the homies didn't want to fuck with me because I lost it pretty much. But I gained that back up again. I went, did a little a week in jail, sobered me up, came back out, and I met my second baby mama. That's my daughter. She has my daughter, and I pretty much she had control. She had control of me because again, that's my weakness. My kryptonite. But it's cool though because she took care of me. I thank God that lady. But I feel bad because we were both addicts too, and I got her. It all went sour ever since then. It's been sour. We got her kids took in, and she blamed me for it, and I felt bad again. I started slamming again a few years back, and yeah, I've been going through DCFS for quite a while now. Like I've been fighting that shit with her kids. I couldn't be around them, so back and forth with her. Then she got her kids back. Now she didn't get her kids back. Actually, her father, the baby daddy, got the kids. He actually went through a program, and I sort of thought, since when he went through a program, since that day he went in, I kept that one day I remember fantasizing that one, tomorrow I'm gonna get sober. Tomorrow I can't, but that tomorrow never came for me. It was just I can do it. I'll do it tomorrow. Don't worry. I'm gonna start getting out tonight. That shit never came to me. Every time my lady kicked me out, I went back home to my grandparents. My grandparents took care of me. That's all I knew how to run to was my grandparents, my grandpa, my grandma. They took care of me every time. They always opened the doors for me, so I had somewhere to go all the time. But until the 2020 came, my grandpa passed away from COVID, and man, I didn't make it to his funeral. Because I was in the street. I got busted the day of his funeral. Actually, I was supposed to carry his casket, and I got caught with a burner. I was slamming again. I started slamming again in 2020, at the end of 2020, December. So I get out. My lady ended up bailing me out. My lady who Linda, she takes care of me. She bailed me out. And she bails me out, and I run. Boom! I go back on. I go to court fighting it, and go to court fighting it, and then we fight again, me and her. This time we're throwing punches. I don't hit females. I don't hit her, but I don't feed the shit out of her. And like I knew my life was unmanageable. Like fuck, I'm gonna return crazy. Like I'm about to catch a case for this. And we said some most hateful shit ever. And I pushed it. Like I'm gone. So that day when I was in Long Beach I went to Long Beach with my sister, my little sister who's still out there. Hope everything's good with her. I got busted that day with my sister coming to Pedro, and I got a phone call from baby mama. She was like, "I'm pregnant. Like we need counseling," and I got busted, and that's the first time they gave me a program. was the year 21. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me back up a little bit. I'm sorry about that. My baby mom bailed me out. My grandma died a month later that day, that month. I remember. And she died a month later, and that's when I went on the run. I started slamming again. I went on the run. Like, fuck this. I didn't know what to do with myself. Like, I wanted to kill everything I see, every enemy I wanted to see. I wanted to headhunt his ass, like, straight up. Like, I didn't care. Just take me too. My grandma said she was gonna take me, but she never took me with her, I wish she did, but that's the day, that's the day where everything, that's the day where I got busted. That's okay. The time when I was in jail, that's the time when yeah, that time. Okay, boom, boom. That was the time when I caught. Okay, I went to court. The court gave me a program. I did a 3-month program in La Cata, I believe it was La Cata. I was taking the program serious, but not too serious. I was I had a reservation pretty much, but I didn't know it. I wasn't working the steps like I was doing here. I didn't have no higher power. Um, my lady was pregnant when I got out. She got me to leave the RBH, and I took care of her with the baby. We were clean. We were clean for about another year, about 9 months. I want to say 9 to 12 months, 11 months. So my cousin died in the county of an overdose. That's where it really fucking kicked off again, and I lost it again. I started getting high again, without my lady knowing, and I was using in the restroom, and I got her to relapse. I got her to relapse. That's the point where, like, man, I got to, I didn't care. Like, man, when I start using, I don't care. Like, but I regret that. So my daughter's born. That's when DCFS comes in my life again. Like, what's going on? And they said that we're gonna take my daughter. So, but I managed to slip through the cracks and tell my lady, like, I'm not in the house. Boom. So my lady was going through it for about a year with my daughter. She had her until recently. Like, we was cheating the system. Man, there's no way you can cheat the system, fellas, when you're high. There's no way. They're gonna get on your ass about everything. They're gonna make you more paranoid than you are of the courts and the cops. I thought we could manage that shit, and I remember we had my daughter with me, right? And life didn't really hit me until my lady, until my baby was we had my baby. We weren't supposed to have my baby. All right, the seed was, not the one said the seed was planted. The seed was planted when I hit La Cata, but it wasn't, the roots weren't growing, because I wasn't feeding it any water, for it to grow. So forward a little bit, when I knew I needed to get clean, I knew, because I used to let my daughter cry in her, how do you say that, her bed, the crib. There you go, the crib. And I used to let her cry to the point where, she like, I was a bad father. I was a bad dad, and I didn't know I was a bad dad like that on drugs. My 3 oldest kids didn't go through it. Well, I had to put my daughter through it. And my lady tested 30 the day, maybe that week, and they took my daughter from her. They found out that we were getting high again, and the grandma said that she couldn't take it. Like, I can't take it. I'm not watching the baby. So my sister got involved, and my sister got involved, and my sister has her. So this year of I want to say March, I've been on the run. I've been on the run since 2 years, and let me see. I've been on the run for, okay, yeah, since March. That's when they busted me again. God, God just throws signs. Okay, God throws signs out there. There was something missing. There was something missing for me. Like, what I really needed. Like, a loving God, like my higher power. But He throws signs out there every time. you guys can't miss it. Like he throws signs regardless. Those signs you gotta look for. Like you would notice. Yeah, I don't know how to say this, you guys. My bad. I'm just nervous. It's the signs he threw. He sent me to jail, and that's the day I seen a couple homies that just died recently too. Like, I went to see them the last time. Like, like fuck, God put you in here for a reason to see your homies the one last time. Like, damn, is that a sign? Like, boom. Again, I kept fantasizing like, fuck, I gotta get clean. So I get out. They reinstated my program, and so I do an outpatient program at Tarzana Treatment Center. I was actually running a good, solid program because I was actually sober when I got out, and I was running an honest program until I got my first job, my next job. I started to cheat myself, and man, so time goes by. This is when it really hits. God jumps in your life when the time is right. I was getting high, cheating, getting fake piss tests, and next you know, it's like I pee. I go for the day I got to pee, right? I pee for Tarzana that day and DCFS that same day, and it came back negative on positive for them and negative for DCFS. So in my mind, I'm high, tripping like, which one's true? Which one's true? I don't know how to tell my counselor. Should I tell her I was getting high or not? Because she's talking to the DCFS, to my social worker, and so I'm like, man, forget this. Like, so my counselor over there, Tarzana, she talked to me. She was like, and I was honest with myself that day. I was like, I was getting high. I'm not gonna lie. That's the day the seed started to grow. The day she brought an individual inside the room there. It was a friend of mine who I grew a good relationship. His name is Joey. Joey. I actually heard his story, and I listened to him like like man to man. I actually heard his story, and he kind of, I don't know, for some reason, I don't listen to niggas like, fuck what y'all have to think, but I actually listened to him because I had a good relationship with him, and that day God was speaking to me, like, I actually, like, I'm gonna take his word for it. He went through this program, Fred Brown's, he's the guy that I actually look up to, Joey, he showed me how to, he told me everything, what I needed to hear, and I actually sat there and kept it in my head. So the day that they sent me to they had sent me to a inpatient program that this was right before I came here. My social worker, I hear that knowledge. My social worker told me, like, Martinez, like, what's going on here? Your test came back clean, and I'm like, what the fuck? Excuse my language, I don't know if and I go, whoa. They're like, you don't need an inpatient, but they discharged me from there and sent me to the inpatient regardless. So I went, and I told my kids that Daddy has to get right, They cried, like they cried and like, Dad, what did you do? Like, like, Daddy has to get right. Like, I had to go, and it wasn't the program for me, so I left. When I came, I checked myself in about a week later. I remember calling Fred Brown's because I heard Joey's story, and I was like, let me try this because it's in the hood, but I don't know if I'm gonna do too good here, because it's the hood and the streets I used to warm around. Like, I used to warm up the street from Fred Brown's, where Fred Brown's at, like the dope house was up the street. I knew a gang of people from Pedro, so, and the day I came in here, that's the day I came in, and that's the day where everything changed for me, That's the day where I like to call it a paradigm shift, where the things I wanted that I didn't have, that I could have, but I had to do it on another level. A level where I'm not comfortable. I had, where I'm not comfortable, and that's being clean and sober. So that's the day when I came to Fred Brown's. I found my higher power thanks to Jesse, man. I gave it a shot. I went to those, and got to know who my higher power is. He pretty much, I had a mindset now. Like, I sat in front of the rooms, the groups. I sat in front of the seat like that, boom. and listen to what I had to hear the solutions. I listened to every meeting I went to. I listened. I paid attention. I actually listened and took it in for what it is. You know, I learned to listen and listen to learn. You know, it can work for you guys. You know, for those who want it, because it's working for me. Today, I'm a different man. You know, I'm gonna be a dad today. This year, I'm gonna be getting my kids back. You know, I went to court last week and I heard great news. You know, I took Raul with me. Thanks to God, you know, he understood everything and he was so happy for me too. He wanted to cry. You know, he's like, man, I wanted to cry, man. Like, oh, like I felt made me feel good about myself. Like, damn, I'm making progress. I'm a work in progress, guys. I'm a work in progress. You know, and I'm gonna stick to it. I learned how to be vigilant here. You know, how to attack the devil, pretty much. When he tries to come at me, we don't put shit in, you know what I'm saying? Use my girl to come argue with me or something. I know how to be vigilant and put up my boundary and just, you know, boom, back off, like, oh, just get out of here, boom, you know? I can sit here today and I still haven't called her, but I got text messages and, you know, she misses me. Like, damn, that's all you gotta do is put your boundaries, you know? Be vigilant. You gotta be vigilant to this program, you know? Be vigilant to be aware of all the stuff. Did I say that right? Am I saying it right? Okay. But today I find my higher power, and thank you for letting me speak.